Everybody, Joel here again with Absolute Vinyl. We're continuing to talk about setting the posts. I'm here with Taylor again. I'm just going to ask him a couple questions, kind of help you as the customer kind of know what to look for as far as after your holes are dug. So Taylor, you dug all these holes yesterday. What do you as a foreman really look for as far as the hole is concerned for you to know that the posts are ready to be set in concrete?
Basically what I look for is that it's a good 12 inches wide and for sure 2 feet deep. A couple inches deeper is perfectly fine. That just means you're going to have a little more concrete, which is just going to make a more sturdy post. And the main thing is make sure that there's no loose dirt on the walls, and if there's a little loose dirt in your bottom, either dig a little deeper to get it out, or you can step in there and just pack it, because there's going to be a little bit of dirt in the bottom, but if you just pack it in with your foot, you should be good to go. And then before I go to start setting in more posts, I'll go back and remark my corners and my ends where my paint needs to go, so that when I establish my corners and ends, I'll have a nice straight shot, and assuming all the holes were dug correctly on paint, you won't have to shave any of your holes inside the yard or outside of the yard to get your posts centered within those holes. And then one way you can do that is you can just basically take a stake in the center of your hole here, pound it down, run a string line down to your other end, pound it in the same thing, and then just walk down and check if your string line isn't running through the center of your holes. Then you might want to shave them before you start setting. That way you don't have to stop and reclam a bunch of holes over and over again.
So after everything's ready, what post do you want to set first?
Always set the ends and the corners first of whatever line you're starting on. You don't have to go throughout the whole job and do it, but if I'm starting on this side line for now, so we've already set that corner post up there, which we established with the height of that back line going over there, that's already existing. And then we'll set this corner here next. And then once we set this corner, what we'll look for is low points and high points within that line, and then those will be the next points we set, and we call those break posts. And so once we get done setting this corner, I'll kind of show you how to set to your break post after you have your corner established and all set for your proper height.
Now you're going to be setting the corner post. Why don't you just kind of walk us through as far as how to establish that, what you're doing with the paint on the ground and everything, and how to get all that straight and ready to go.
Alright, so once your holes are all properly cleaned and shaved and you got your paint back on your corners and your ends, basically you'll just start with that corner, whichever line you want to start with. And so this return is going back to the house here, so I'll line it up with my inside paint here, and I'll hold my level on the post here, and I'll just get it nice and level. And if I like that, then I'll just basically step over to this side. And not every line is going to be perfectly square, so you may have to tilt your post about half the distance so it has equal twists going both directions. The only posts I don't twist like that will be gate posts. 90% of the time, unless it's a special situation, they're always flush with the line so that the gate has equal gaps on each side. So here I've got it lined up both ways where I think I like it, and now we'll fill it with mud. Or my side first. See, now we're putting that amount of dirt, about 3 to 4 post hole diggers worth of dirt is just about right. Once you have enough dirt around there, I always pack it before I lift the post up. And the reason I always lift the post up is because it's better to tap your post back down into the concrete so there's no void underneath your post in the bottom of your set, because that can make your post have an ability to settle on you. So now that I've packed the dirt around, I lift it up about an inch or so higher than where I'm going to leave it. And then I'll get it, once again, about, and if it's up to your preference, we usually go about 2 inches off of ground height, sometimes 3 at the most, especially if they're going to be doing sod. That way our bottom rails don't have any issues getting in or out if you ever have to repair a panel or need one opened up, or for some reason it's just easier to access.
So a lot of customers are concerned about wanting that rail as close to the ground as possible to leave no gaps, and so they're always wanting to know, should this bottom route be at ground level? What would you say to that?
I would say the closest you'd want it to be is about an inch from the actual ground level, especially if you're on dirt, because if you're planning on putting sod or seeding, that way the grass has ample room to grow underneath it versus not having anywhere to grow, especially if it's a sideline splitting 2 yards. We like to go at the minimum an inch off of the ground.
Sounds good.
So that's your basic corner. We got about 2 inches on each side. Again, if it's not quite a square corner, so I just kind of eyeball it and just twist it about half the distance of what it would need to be square that way and square to the house, and then level it up, and then you're good to go on that one. Just make sure it's level on, you know, all four sides. So that's how you set your corner or your end.
All right, so Taylor, on a normal fence, you would normally start with the end post to the end post, and you would set all the line posts in between with no change in grade. But right now, we're setting a post that's in the middle of the line. Why is that?
So basically what we have here is a break post. What that means is from point A to point B, if we just set them all one height, not all the bottom rails will be a pretty similar distance off of the ground grade level, because it kind of has a little swoop up in it here. So basically what we do is we find that post where the grade level changes from whatever angle it may be, whether it's a peak or a valley, and that's the post we'll set next, and we'll get that post again, you know, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches off the ground, just like our ends, so that when we set from our end to that break post, all of our bottom rails will be a consistent height. It'll follow the flow of the dirt or the grass better than if we just set one end to one end. Some of those rails may end up being 4 or 5 inches out of the ground, and some may be buried in the ground. So that's why we change these break posts. So here at Absolute Vinyl, we use all eyesight for setting our posts for height and in line. So I'm having Cash down there. Basically, I'm going to get my level on the side of the post inside the yard here and center it in my hole. And then once I'm level, I'm going to let him know, and he's going to tell me whether I need to go in the yard or away from the yard so that our tops are nice in line. But another method you can use if you don't have someone helping you is you can run a string line on the outside edge of that post all the way down to the outside edge of that post, and then take your post, and then once your top of your post touches that string, if your post is level, then you're ready to fill with concrete, and you just adjust the base accordingly if you're using a string line.